what exactly is going to get done in your mind, given the fact that there is just no more time to really hash things out?
So, Dom, you're in a situation where if you have a clean bill, it has time. But if there is anything that is at all controversial, there's not enough time before Friday midnight to get that through the House, because they're not back until tomorrow, in starting the clock in the Senate. The Senate has all these weird arcane rules that you go 30 hours and then you are able to unlock the next step and then go another 30 hours. There's not that time there. You asked about a continuing resolution. That's certainly possible. There's a couple of problems there, though. Is one, House Republicans have said they will not do that again. And two, Democrats will be needed to come along. What is their cost of coming along this time? Is it Ukraine aid? Is it something else?
Okay, Ed, there are some members of Congress who are, in essence, telling the American public that they need to kind of get used to this idea that there could be a government shutdown. What exactly does a government shutdown look like come this weekend if a deal does not get done?
So, Dom, the United States Congress has 12 different individual bills that they fund the government. On Friday at midnight, 4 of those bills expire. Included in those bills are the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Energy Department, the FDA, Transportation, Housing and Urban Development. If you're watching the show and you have a flight on Saturday morning, you do not need to worry whether or not those TSA agents are going to be able to show up. They will. They might just not get paid until the government reopens. If you have a VA appointment over the weekend, that's not going to get canceled, but certain new things will get canceled the longer this goes on.
A deal not getting done is not beneficial for the optics around either party or Congress or the executive branch. This is an election year. What exactly are the tactics being contemplated now by both sides as to why you would even want to push this to the brink again?
So, Dom, it's just a situation where the House Republicans have a very narrow majority. And there is a small group who say if the speaker cuts a deal they don't like, they are going to have a motion to vacate him, and he's going to be former Speaker Johnson. That's what this really comes down to. Now, you say that there's a lot to lose across the board. However, politically, when we look at almost every other government shutdown, Republicans are the ones that seem to get the blame here. So what Speaker Johnson is trying to walk this tightrope here is telling his caucus he's going to fight, but he's not in a very strong negotiating position because the dollars that are going to be spent were agreed on a year ago. Bipartisan support. The final numbers, what we're talking about this week, were agreed on months ago. So it's just a question of when will we actually get this deal done? Because even if we're in a government shutdown, the only thing you do is reopen it at the numbers that are agreed to.
Let's not talk about this in terms of Biden and Trump. Let's talk about this in terms of House leadership right now, and that is Speaker Mike Johnson. Is this dramatic or not dramatic to say that this is almost like a mini referendum on the speakership under Mike Johnson's tutelage?
Yeah, so Dom, what I would look at is the Speaker pro tem, Patrick McHenry, who took over after Republicans ousted Speaker McCarthy. And what he said is, in many ways, he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, that almost any deal is going to upset some portion of the Republican caucus in the House of Representatives. And so his advice to Speaker Johnson, which I agree with, is find a deal that you can cut, bring it, and if you can get policy, great. But if you're just trying to prevent yourself from getting ousted, we know from sports that the only thing that a prevent defense does is prevent you from losing or prevent you from winning, actually. So I just think that we can look at these politics, but he doesn't have a lot of room to maneuver. So just cut the deal, keep the government open, figure out what policy you can get in that final deal.